Alright. Let's see if we can still shoot a localizer approach. Localizer's coming in right here for Caldwell. I did have to vector myself a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and turn off own ship, as it's called. Little moving airplane symbol on there. Alright. Now, we're doing this old school, no GPS on here, so we're going to see how this goes. We're in HOA's Piper Comanche. You can see it's already kind of blown through the localizer, but we're pretty far out. That's okay. First cross radial we're looking for off of Teterboro is the 343, which I've put in here. So once this needle is centered, we're at Doughty, and we can go down to 2,000 feet. We're currently at 2,400 feet. Really gone through the localizer here. We're almost a dot off to the left, but it will recover. Going into Caldwell here in Jersey, base is reported about 500 to 600 feet. So we'll see how that bodes. All my lights are on. Fuel pump is on. Let me get my carb heat on now, too. Before I forget, you're going to hear the autopilot yelling at me to trim it. And that's because this old school autopilot, which you can see is all built into the turn coordinator here, cannot trim itself. Bring up the power just a little bit. Really rather not go below 110 knots. You can see the needle starting to center there. Alright, fair today is our final approach fix. We'll go ahead and start our timer at that point, if I remember. Alrighty, everything's looking rosy. It's coming back to center here on the localizer, and I would say that's centered right there. So let's go ahead and disengage the altitude keeping, and we're going to go ahead and descend to 2,000 feet. This will be a bit of a dive and drive. As non-precision approaches should be, even in the Airbus. Where's the fun in a gradual glide slope angle? There's no fun in that. All those passengers launched out of their seats. Alright, 100 feet to go here. I've sped up quite a bit, but that's alright because we're not a collie yet. And I do have to reset my nav 2 for that. Alright, let's go ahead and re-engage altitude keeping mode. It's not great, but we need 323 at this point. So let's go ahead and put that in. There's 320. 1, 2, 3. There's 323. So we're waiting for that to center, and then we'll know we're at fair, our final approach fix for this approach. I think our goal is going to be about 100 knots on this approach. Let's get the gear down. That's going to help us here. Bring that speed back. Great aircraft built by Piper, by the way. I've never flown the single-engine Comanche. I have flown its bigger brother, the twin Comanche. Alright, it wants me to trim up. I'm going to bring in a little power right now as well. A little more power. That gear adds a lot of drag. Alright, needle's starting to center. We're getting closer to fair right there. I'll probably put the timer on my phone. It's just a little bit easier. Alright, stopwatch. Resets. Okay, there's about 100 knots. About 100 feet high, but that's alright. As soon as we get a center needle, we can go down to 1,000 feet for collie. Alright, needle centering on the 323 radial. Timer is started. Let's go ahead and disengage altitude keeping. We're going to go first notch of flaps. And let's dive her on down. Trying to maintain that 100 knots though. That's important for timing purposes. Oop, don't want to descend too fast here. Unpressurized aircraft would be very, very, very unpleasant for my passengers. There we go. While we're in the descent, Collie's on the 305. Gonna try to do this as best as I can. Alright, there's the 305 radial. Holding about 100 knots, not bad. About 900 feet per minute in the descent. We're at 1 minute exactly on the timer. We can do 3 minutes and 14 seconds before we have to go missed. $100 to go. Alright, let's start that level off. I can see a little bit of ground out there. That's always a good sign, right? Okay, there's my altitude mode. Let's bring that power back in, especially now that we got flaps and gear out. We need a lot of power to maintain that 100 knots. And we're just waiting for this to center. And then we can go down to our minimums of 560 feet. Looking alright. Nothing out there for me to see yet, but doing alright. Alright. Needle is centered. That means we are at Kali. Altitude engagement is off. Bringing that power back. Start our descent for 560 feet. 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the timer. Nope, getting a little fast. Let's bring that power back a little bit more. Second notch of flaps to help us out. After all, if I see that runway, I want to land, and we'll call that a 1,000-foot stable. Maybe a little cheating, but I don't intend on going back into the soup, so. Alrighty. 560, we got about 100 feet to level off.
500.
Start bringing it up to level right here. Look at that. Would you look at that? There's a runway and everything. Oh my goodness gracious. Autopilot is coming off. Alright. Gas, undercarriage, mixture, and prop. Last set of flaps. Caldwell's runway 22 is right in front of us. Oh my goodness. It's so nice when these old school approaches work out. About 90 knots here on final. 1 dot high on the Pappy. I'm okay with that. We got 4,500 feet of runway. Start working it down. Take out our power a little bit. Oh, we got a little stuttering there on the computer. Ugh. Better now than when I'm trying to flare. And right there is where the timer would have said we would have had to have gone miss. 3 minutes, 32 seconds. Smoothly bringing out the power as we approach the runway threshold. Little bit of a wind from our right. Trying to hold that off. Get the nose aligned. A little bit of right wing down. Ooh, little side loading. Little side loading. Ugh. Feel bad for that landing gear, but you know what? I'll take it. We found the runway. We didn't have to go missed, and everything works out. We'll just bring it to a stop right here. Right on the runway. Woo! Not too bad. 4 out of 5 stars. Ooh, I think that's being nice to me. All right. Well, how'd I do? Old school localizer approach, no GPS. What could I improve upon besides the landing? See you next time.